Alright, what is up, ladies and gentlemen? Brandon Perry from Colossal Fitness here. Today let's talk a little bit about abdominal training, something that I never directly do. I think we're good. But for those of you that do, we'll touch on this topic briefly. When I say I never do it, that's kind of an understatement. I spent a lot of years training my core. I built a base, and now through the way I lift, my core engagement and recruitment is enough for me. I don't feel like I need to add in any extra direct isolation core work. But with athletes, I do a ton of core work. I do a ton of stability work. I train the core more on a stability and balance standpoint, as well as a base for explosive power, not as an aesthetic purpose. We'll touch on the brief topic. There's a big difference between aesthetic and athletic training when it comes to your core. Let's keep it simple. There's two levels to your core. You have your rectus abdominis and you have your transverse abdominis. So as you can see, the transverse abdominis runs below the rectus abdominis. The rectus abdominis is generally what people look for in a visual aesthetic standpoint. The transverse abdominis runs deeper than that, and it actually runs deeper than your obliques. This is going to be the layer that really allows for the explosive core power that I'm talking about with athletics, the stability. Obviously the rectus abdominis and your internal and external obliques are going to be factors. They're going to be required in transitioning between movements. They're going to be required for stability and balance, as well as rotational type movements. But everything stems to me from the transverse abdominis. That's the layer that you really want to put the most emphasis into when you're training. So when it comes to direct core training and trying to get your transverse abdominis to do as much work as possible, the idea for me has always been based around breathing. A lot of times I'll put my clients in unstable situations and try to get them to stabilize themselves and fight for stabilization, and that to me is going to enhance the core strength. But to really get that deep layer of the transverse abdominis, I do a lot of breathing techniques with my clients. I think breathing is huge when it comes to abdominal training. So I'll give you a little example of what I'm talking about here. The only way to get a complete contraction of the transverse abdominis is to exhale all the air you have in the lungs and diaphragm. The way to do this is to take a new breath in before you start each movement. As you come up to the top, hold, exhaling all the air you have. If done correctly, you'll feel a deep contraction of the transverse abdominis. You can do this with any variation of core exercise, including a bicycle or an elbow to knee. This should be completed in the exact same manner, taking a breath in before you start, coming up and across the body, elbow towards knee, keeping your chin high towards the ceiling, and holding until you've exhaled all the air. This even works with a plank, getting yourself into position and then working with small breath holds, exhaling all the air you have, and then taking a new breath and starting over. Alright, hopefully that helps, guys. Hopefully that gives you a better understanding of the difference between athletic training and aesthetic training when it comes to your core. I mean, there are certain situations, and I don't want to ever speak in absolutes, where aesthetic training might be beneficial, but I always maintain that if you train your core like an athlete, the aesthetics will come with it. And then on top of that, you're going to get the increased function, stability, balance, base for strength, and explosive power. So focus most of your training on athletic type movements, on functional type movements, and then the aesthetics will come with it, guys. So hopefully that helps. As always, if you like this, please subscribe to the channel and like the video. If you want more information like this, please head over to Colossal Fitness Training on Facebook or Instagram.